Hi everybody, this is Paul from Sarisa Dentistry. Nice to see you again. Moving on, as I said, I promised to talk about toothpaste, so whistle-stop tour of toothpaste today. Before I do, I just want to do a big shout out to my team members who I'm missing hugely. These videos have come about because I have one team member called Dava. Those of you who are familiar with the practice will know her. She's one of my first nurses, treatment leads, partner in crime. She started the practice with me when we launched about 3.5 years ago, and she's always nagging me to get on social media and do things like this, and I'm always procrastinating and I never get around to it. So this is for Dava who's watching, and I hope you will enjoy these videos. So, science behind toothpaste today. Decided to do this because this is one of the other big questions we always get asked by our patients. Paul, which toothpaste shall I use? And I understand that you can walk into a supermarket and be faced with a plethora of different types of toothpaste, and it's just very, very confusing as to choose. And I find that a lot of patients will just say, Paul, my wife buys it, depends on price, and they go with it. No problem. I've decided to break it down actually into ingredients, the rationale behind that being that I can give you a little bit of basic science behind toothpaste and hopefully help educate you as to choices and make that confusion a little less daunting. So, ingredients. First thing, what you'll find in toothpaste. I'm going to cover this ingredient first. It's by no means in order of importance, but one of the first things you'll find in toothpaste is abrasive particles. So they are little silicate particles, a bit like having the little particles you get in facial scrubs that help remove the outer layer of skin and leave you looking very glowy. So abrasive toothpaste are designed in the same way and really marketed here as your whitening toothpaste. Conveniently, I forgot to find a little tube of those, but I do have a big tube here. This one is similar. They are really designed to be used, I say to patients, only 2 or 3 times a week, similar to how you would use a facial scrub. You're not going to exfoliate every day. You shouldn't really be exfoliating your teeth every day. I do find a lot of patients who suffer from general teeth sensitivity don't get on so well with those abrasive toothpaste. So if you do find that you are one of those individuals, then try and stay away from abrasive toothpaste or whitening toothpaste, or use them on an ad hoc basis. This is one of the ones that was on the market. I just want to show you, this is a black toothpaste. Charcoal came into fashion in dental toothpaste about a year ago. For the life of me, I do not understand why anybody wants to use a black toothpaste. The mother and wife in me thinks it's absolutely horrendous, because I think our sinks would be covered with black bits everywhere. So never really taken off, and we're going to put that to the side. The next ingredient I'd like to talk about is 2 or 3 items, minor ingredients. So we've got colorings, we've got stabilizers, we've got thickening agents, all those things that help create the texture, appearance, nature of toothpaste as we see them as they come out of the tube. All right, what's next? Let's talk about surfactants. Now, those of you who know, surfactants are essentially what we see in laundry detergents, very liquid, make our toothpaste frothy or foam when we put them in the mouth. I think it's designed twofold: A, to make it a pleasant experience for us as the individual when we use them, but also importantly, similar concept to laundry, I say to patients, is those surfactants will help dissolve some of the soluble materials that are floating around in our mouth and help wash them away. So there is, I think, a biological benefit to them. Next ingredient is, actually I'm going to come back to surfactants. Sorry, one thing to say. A lot of patients have certain conditions in the mouth, or those patients who have a dry mouth, either as they're getting older or due to a consequence of medication they're on, or having had chemotherapy or something. And surfactants can have quite a drying effect on soft tissues of the mouth. And so if that is the case, I will urge some patients to move away from some of the toothpaste that are SLS free. There aren't many, but for example, Sensodyne Duo Pro Enamel, that's SLS free, and that can be quite useful. You will find though it doesn't froth as much, but that doesn't mean you use any more than the recommended amount, which I'll run through at the end. But yeah, so you've got some that are SLS free, like Sensodyne. Next ingredient, let's talk about, I think, desensitizing agents. Huge array of desensitizing agents out there designed to help manage tooth sensitivity, which is a huge problem in a lot of patients that we see. There are 2 or 3 different desensitizing agents on the market. Again, I'm not going to bog you down. You've got things like sodium fluoride, we've got potassium nitrate, we've got the new kid on the block is arginine. They all work in slightly different biological ways, but all have the same targeted benefit of helping reduce patient sensitivity. We educate patients and say, if one doesn't work for you, move on and try one of the other ones. So if we've suggested a certain toothpaste and we're finding that desensitizing agent isn't working for you, we'll move you on to another one that has a slightly different one. But what we will do is advise you threefold. Number 1, as part of your toothbrushing regime anyway, once you've finished toothbrushing, spit out the excess toothpaste and don't rinse. So crudely, spit, don't rinse. The rationale behind that is that you're leaving a thin residue of toothpaste and all those active ingredients lingering around in the mouth. So some of those desensitizing agents then have the opportunity to actually take action and work. Number 2, if you have specific sensitive teeth, I will say to patients, clean pinky, get a little bit of toothpaste on that pinky and just coat that area and leave it. Again, you want to leave that undisturbed as long as possible. So you can do that during the day if you want. A lot of our patients take these little sample tubes around and put them in their handbags. Great for travel, but also great from a practical perspective like that if they have sensitive areas. Advice being, you want to leave it as long as possible. So don't pop it on and then go make yourself a cup of tea. Number 3, what was the number 3 I was going to say is persist with it. If we recommend one toothpaste that has a specific desensitizing agent, you've really got to give it time to build up that desensitizing ability. So we say to patients that persist with that toothpaste for a few weeks. If we find then that you aren't getting any benefit, then we would shift you across to another one, right? But give it time. It's not going to be overnight benefits. Next thing, most important ingredient in all of these toothpastes is fluoride. I am a huge advocate of fluoride. There is one rule in my practice with our patients, is that you have to use a toothpaste with fluoride in it. I completely respect those who are going chemical free and are trying to be environmentally friendly, reusable plastics, all these things. There are a lot of companies out there who are driving that forward, and that's commendable and great, but do not take away the fluoride. It has a huge cavity protecting benefit in the mouth, and we see a lot of problems developing in patients who have swapped over to fluoride-free toothpaste and haven't told us. So if I can give you one bit of advice, please have fluoride in your toothpaste. Now, fluoride, if you look on the back of these toothpastes that have a huge list of ingredients written in microscopic fonts that nobody can read, fluoride will come in varying forms. There's sodium fluoride, there's sodium monofluorophosphate, there's stannous fluoride, and all of them after that in brackets will have a parts per million figure. I think any of the common branded toothpaste will have the recommended adult dosages of toothpaste in them, so it doesn't really matter what you use. Saying that, and moving on to the last ingredient in all these toothpastes, is flavouring. So you've got, most will be mint, you've got one here, Corsadil, very popular brand, have come away from that, and they've got a slightly strange tasting salty toothpaste, which takes a while to get used to, but again, liked by some patients who don't like the mint flavour. I bring up flavouring because actually the main challenge I have is with our younger patients and children. Our ethos is that we see kids from a very young age and they are using the recommended children's toothpaste as they grow older. But as they get to 5, 6, 7 and adult teeth are beginning to come through in the mouth, I am very keen and driven to get them onto adult toothpaste so that they are getting the recommended adult dosages of fluoride exposed in their mouth. With that brings the battle of taste, because a lot of the stronger mint tasting toothpastes aren't very popular with a younger palate. So at that point we find something like Colgate or Aquafresh very popular, slightly milder flavour and work very well. But what we want to do is get our younger kids with maturing mouths onto adult dosages ASAP. And the rationale behind that is that when adult teeth first come into the mouth, they have an outer shell of enamel that is still immature, not yet fully matured and hardened. And the more fluoride we apply to that area, the better it becomes at hardening up and protecting itself from future decay, which is really the mainstay of our care when those adult teeth are coming through. Finally, we have toothpaste called Durafat. Now, this is a prescription only device, which means that you can only get it from dentists or under the prescription of your GP or a dentist. And the reason behind that is that's very high fluoride toothpaste, and they are really designed and prescribed by us to those patients who are in most need of it. So they will be either because we've identified them for being a high decay risk because they come in with a lot of cavities, or they've got some sort of underlying dental abnormality that makes them slightly more vulnerable, or in an older population, dry mouths, where reduction in quality and quantity of saliva has reduced saliva's protective benefits in the mouth, and so we have to help counter that by providing the patients with more fluoride, or patients who've had simply treatments like chemotherapy or radiotherapy that make their mouths more vulnerable to decay. Last thing, let's talk about a mount. So, electric toothbrush. You know we're a fan of electric toothbrush. I say to my children when we go and do dental talks that kids really, if they're looking at an adult toothpaste, so we're talking an adult dosage of fluoride, is a petit pois size, all right? So we only want, actually I'm gonna do it on there, petit pois. Let's do it on the back of, yeah. So really smidgen, doesn't come out very well. Adults, you can do a garden pea, all right? What you'll find is a lot of these marketing companies show these great photos and videos with big smudges of toothpaste along that. Don't want that, all right? It's all you need. One last tip I'm going to just mention here while we're talking about toothpaste is one of the things a lot of these toothpastes have done is they've become what we call hydrophilic, water-loving, designed like that so that when they enter the mouth, they draw up some fluid and they help stick to all the surfaces and start working more effectively. The downside of that is that you'll find that some patients will complain that when they first put that toothbrush and toothpaste in the mouth, it actually creates a very strange sensation afterwards where they feel that the inside of their gums and mouth are all peeling away. The mouth is a very resilient place, and those soft tissues are always turning over. So that's just dead cells being removed, new cells being replenished, but it can be quite unnerving when it happens. So one of the tricks we say to patients is go back to when we were young, run that under the tap, give it a quick rinse before it enters the mouth, and you remove that initial drying action that you might get when you use these toothpastes. That's it. Thank you for listening.